So, good morning, everyone. I'm John Pradeep, and here I am today to present on this topic tracking design process. This tracking design process is not a new topic, it's a very common term for we software engineers. And what this tells about is imagine you're in a design project team where there are a lot of deadlines, works, and you have a lot of members who are working along with you. So, without a proper design tracking method, the system may not give you a proper, well-defined, structured output. So, that is why in this session, we are going to talk about this tracking design process. So, let's move on to it by seeing with a real world example. In a real world example, there are multiple problems. One of them is about unclear workflow, overlapping tasks, frequent changes in the design based on the requirements of the users, or based on the feedback of the users, and inefficient communication between the designers and the developers because not every one of them are having the same native language and not everyone fluently speak English, and that is one of the main language barrier, and that is why in this particular PPT also I've put about the inefficient communication problem. Now that we know that these are all the problems for developing a website are there, let's talk about the solution about it. And talking about the solution, many people have researched on it and they have found a lot of solutions. And I've picked particularly two main popular solutions, and in which I'm going to discuss about one of the solution is Kanban board example. In Kanban board example, they have segregated in such a way that it consists of four steps. The first step is about to do. It is called to do. The second step is called in progress. Third step is called review. And the fourth step is called done. So, what all these four steps do is that it makes you visualize the particular project on which you're working on with so that you will be able to have a clear idea on what you're going to do and which eventually leads you to work efficiently in your particular work. Let's move on to the next example for which I'm going to spend a lot of time explaining. This is called agile methodology, and this is a very popular methodology which has been right now used in a lot of software systems. So um, instead of developing a particular website or a system, uh, designing a particular system for months or years, what this approach follows is that you create a particular system, you design a particular system within like 1 or 2 weeks, rapid sprint way. And then what you do is get the feedback from the users. And once the feedback is done collecting, you just refine it, you just recreate the design in a way that the end users really like them. And then you do this again and again in an iterative approach till the user gets satisfied with what they really wanted. So a best example for this is Instagram and Facebook. Facebook in the earlier stage, when you take a look, the styling of it, the CSS styling of it wasn't really that good. So what they did was they released a basic version which has the core features, primary features, and then based on the feedbacks of the user, after a lot of years down the lane, the design started improving, and now here is the design which I've been showing in the screen. Now here is the well refined structure. But this is also, not a proper structure. Even after like 2 years, the design may get varied for this particular app. It is all about the iteration. The number of iteration it goes, the well most likely it gets enhanced. Talking about the advantages of this methodology, um, it gives you a clear cut vision of what you're going to do and what you have to do. And when working on a environment with a lot of people, you have to allocate tasks to each and every people, and that goes very smooth here when you apply this particular solution of agile development, and it eventually reduces your work, and also it improves your collaboration when working on with other people. Moving on to the last slide about the conclusion for this particular topic. So I want to conclude this particular topic with an example. Imagine you're working or building a particular bridge, okay, and you're working on it. Without a proper plan, things may really fall apart. Uh, so imagine you're getting the things which you want to build a bridge on a late basis, and also the products which are arriving are also becoming late. The employees are working for it are also not with a proper structured manner. And what happens is when you have all these irregularities with you, and then when you develop a particular system or a project, it eventually leads to an inefficient solution and an inefficient system. And even if that solution is built in a crooked manner, it wouldn't last much longer. So that is the reason why we are using a proper system for tracking this design progress. And with the help of agile methodology, you can flexibly work on it. And with the help of Kanban system, you can actually visualize it and have a more efficient way of creating a system. So before concluding about this particular tracking design progress, I would also like to tell about this particular methodology which I have missed, which is called Gantt chart. This is also an important methodology and also recently becoming popular. And if you take a look, this methodology approach is about a timeline based component. So, for example, with the example which I used earlier for Instagram, you create a particular system and then you develop it based on the user's feedback. But then you have a particular certain set of time period, right? And that is what this particular Gantt chart is also talking about. It is a time-based tool where the employees or the people who are working on a particular system are assigned to do a particular task within that particular time limit. So only when a time limit is being fixed, those particular employees will be able to work within that particular deadline and then they'll be able to finish the task. Like how we students finish the assignments before the day of the submission. So this Gantt chart methodology is also one of the popular methodology which has been um, coming up lately and recently. And thus, I want to conclude this topic once again, saying that with all these tracking systems lined up in our mind, we have to know one thing. If we want to develop a perfect structured system which should survive in this modern era, we need to make sure that it is well refined, it well satisfies the users and the customers' need. And if it doesn't, it will not exist in the market. So that is the reason why we use all these approaches, methodologies to track a particular design process. It is not alone for designing a particular system, whereas it is also for designing and also developing a particular system. Because tracking is not only for designing, it is useful for each and every part of life. Without tracking, nothing can be done, right? So, thus, I want to conclude once again saying that without these particular systems, with these particular systems, we can enhance the design of a particular application into a more refined structure. Thank you, Manu.